Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's session, to another session of the Online Fashionomics Accelerator Program. Good afternoon. My name is Omolabake Olagunju. I am a Senior Program Associate with the Creative Economic Practice, and I am based at the Lagos office. You are welcome to the Fashionomics Africa Accelerator Program. Today we'll be covering setting up a strong business model, leveraging the business model canvas value proposition. Kindly note that translations are available in English, French, Portuguese, and Arabic. We request that you look for the round interpretation icon at the bottom of the screen to select your preferred language. Welcome once again to today's session, and while you wait, please turn on your cameras if you can, and share in the chat what you are looking to get out of the session. Before we start, here are some ground rules. Switch on camera if you can. Use the chat box to ask questions. Raise hand if you want to say something. What we discuss here stays here, confidential. Mute your microphone unless you want to speak. Participate actively. Give space for others to participate. Please ensure that your Zoom name matches your registration name. This is for the purpose of taking attendance. Attendance will be taken anytime during the session. So again, we ask you to ensure that your Zoom name matches your registration name so that you are not marked absent. Meet our facilitator. Our facilitator today is Akinwande Akinsulire. Akinwande Akinsulire is a highly driven, innovative business leader with extensive experience in strategic planning, innovation management, capacity building, and enterprise development. Over the last decade, he led the design and delivery of over 30 impact-focused programs and social intervention that have impacted over 40,000 young people, entrepreneurs, and undeserved women across 25 states in Nigeria and 6 other African countries. Currently, he leads the startup support team across CC Hub Nigeria, High Up Kenya, Design Lab Rwanda, where he leverages his vast experience in scaling startups in the development and delivery of incubation, acceleration, and growth-focused intervention programs across Africa. He's also the director and the Global Analyst Academy, a school focused on developing analysts and transformation strategies across organizations. His consulting practice and strategic partnership boost of top brands in the private, public, and non-profit sectors, such as Suburban West Africa, MTN, First Bank, Rain Oil, Traders of Africa, House of Tara, NMPC, Lagos State Government, Ondo State Government, GIZ, Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition, Microsoft Philanthropies, Faith Foundation, and Orange Corners, amongst others. Akin has won few awards, including 2014 Young Leadership Award, 2019 Most Outstanding Business Consultant of the Year, 2020 Startup Consultant of the Year, and 2020 ECOWAS Youth Ambassador. Akin is an alumnus of the Project Management College UK, that's the United Kingdom, and a member of the International Institute of Business Analysis, IIBA, a member of American Management Association, AMA, and Society of Professional Consultants, SPC, among others. He's a certified management consultant by the International Council of Management Consulting Institutes. He has also attended specialized programs provided by the University of Pennsylvania, that's Wharton Business School, in the United States of America, and Aston Business School in the United Kingdom, amongst others. He's poised to provide quality management consulting interventions and high-impact enterprise training that serve as models for businesses in developed and developing world. Without further ado, I want us to welcome Akinwande Akinsulire, the head of startup support at CC Hub. Hi, Akin, so good to have you here this afternoon.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me clearly. It's a pleasure to be back on this Fashionomics Africa. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, please just confirm in the chat session that you can hear me. You to connect. Oh, awesome, awesome. Thank you. And thank you, Molabake, for the long profile read. Okay. Yeah, this is great. Happy to have every one of you join from different parts of Africa. You know, I'm really looking forward to an engaging session with you today. Please do make use of the chat. Let's engage via the chat. So what I'm trying to do is to ensure that I have the chat somewhere open here so that I can see your comments, I can see your questions, you know, as we get on this journey. Okay. Awesome, awesome. Okay, good, you can hear me clearly. That's awesome. Okay, so let's hit the ball rolling. What we're looking at today is, you know, a very important topic, which is setting up a very strong business model, leveraging the business model canvas proposition. For a lot of businesses, right, most of the time when people just have this business idea and they want to start out, what they are thinking about first is that, hey, I want to be able to, you know, produce my products or offer my service to customers and get them to pay. And they think about it from the angle of, okay, where is the best place I can situate my business or, you know, position my business where I can reach a lot of customers, produce the things that I need to produce or offer my service to as many people as possible. Then they pay me, then I'm able to make some significant amount of money, then I can hire more people to join me in making the product and serving those people. Then I have more money. Then I can now start, you know, spending the money on the luxury lifestyle that I've always anticipated. I wish the template is as easy as that. You know, you just plug and just play it and, you know, and just run it like that. It's not as easy as that, right? It's important to note that there is need for intentionality in really designing what the business model you're going to run. You know, you have to be intentional in designing what the business model, you know, will look like, because your business model simply decides if your business is going to grow, if it's going to be successful or not. What is your business model as an entrepreneur? What is your business model? And in a very simple way to define what a business model is to say that your business model is how you create value for your business while you are delivering products and services to the customer. How do you create value? You know, create value and deliver value to your customers. So think about your own business. Either it's a fashion business or it's a hat business or it's anything in between. Think about it. What is my own model of creating value, delivering value, and capturing value from my customers? So the product I am creating, I create value, then I'm able to connect this value to customers. I deliver the value to them, and I'm able to capture value from the customers. This loop has to be complete for you to say that you actually have a viable business model. So let's look at this from a broader perspective. Whatever you have as your business model must be able to speak to some of the key drivers, you know, that validates that you have a good business or a good model. So what it means is that these are certain elements that should be catered to within your business model. Number one is that you need to be able to identify what the source of your revenue is. from your business model. What are you pushing to generate revenue? Who are the target customer that you're looking to serve? What kind of product are you pushing to them? And what value is captured in that product? Everything around your finances, everything around your distribution channel should be captured in whatever it is that it's your business model. Now, there is a popular man, he's now popular. For those that are quite familiar with the business model canvas, Alexander Osterwalder, happened to be the founder, the one who originated the business model canvas. So what he has done is that he has come up with a document that makes it easy for entrepreneurs, for founders, for owner managers to be able to now design their business model without having to sweat it out. So he has simplified that process of you being able to design the business model for your business. Quick question. How many of you have a business plan? I need you to respond in the chat session. How many of you have ever developed a business plan, or you even have a current business plan? Okay. Fantastic. Now, thank you. Good to know. Can you give me an average number of pages of your business plan? How many pages do you have on your business plan? 33, okay. I've seen 33, 10, okay. 2, oh, okay, I like to see it. 10, 15, 18, 20, 126. Interesting. Now, this is what you find. Your business plan could range from a very modest 5-page document to as high as, I can see 125 pages there. I've actually developed, well, I won't say high because it wasn't that I sat down alone and developed it single-handedly. Myself together with my team, we've developed a business plan of about 113 pages, before, for a company that was trying to come into Nigeria from the US, but that had multiple products. So I was saying that to say that the process of developing a business plan, yes, requires that as founders, you reflect, you think about your business and now piece it out in several pages, right? Which ranges from 5 pages to as high as whatever number. But the deficiency that Alexander saw in that is the fact that you cannot visualize everything about your business at a glance. You have to keep turning the pages to be able to understand, okay, this is what this is about, this is what that is about. And at some point, it even becomes a task for you to go and revisit your business plan. Or maybe let me take a quick survey. How many of you, since you developed your business plan, you've been going back to check the business plan every day? Now, I'm not saying that maybe bank asks you to bring it because you want to get a loan or you are asked to submit it, but after you've developed it, every day you've been going back to check it every day, to see what you have there. Not every day, you try to check, okay, I rarely check it. Every month, but not regularly. Okay, interesting. Interesting. So what you will find out is that typically people don't go ahead to check this every day. Once a year. I like your sincerity, Phyllis. People don't get to check it because it's bulky, right? Olayemi never check once in a while. The reason is because it has so much information. So what Alexander has done is to be able to help you aggregate the essential information that you have in your business plan that helps you highlight or captures what your business model is about in one page. So you don't need to carry about the 28 pages or the 100 pages or the 30 pages or the 10 pages everywhere. There is just a one-pager that helps you appreciate, that helps you see all the key elements of your business at a glance. And that is what the business model canvas is about. So you can see what value your business has to offer at a glance. You can see how you're creating value. You can see how you're delivering value, how you're capturing value just at a glance. And that's what we're going to be looking at today. How do we use this business model canvas to actually design a workable business model for our businesses? So the BMC, or the business model canvas, is a visual chart template. A visual chart template. So let me show you what it looks like. This is what it looks like. It's a visual chart template that really helps you to design what your business model is. So with this template, you are able to develop, you are able to test your business model even before launching your startup. And if it's a case where you've launched a business, you are able to use this to revise your business model such that you can clearly see why your business exists in terms of what value you are creating and how you are able to deliver the value to your customers and how you're capturing values from them. So it's very important, right? So let's take a look at what it entails. When you look at the right side, just kind of highlights all the key things that it entails. When you look at the entire chart, they are divided into 9 blocks. At the center is the value proposition. Then to the extreme right is the customer segment. To your extreme left are the key partners. Then at the bottom of the chart, you have the cost structure and the revenue streams. And in between your value proposition and your customer segment, you have your customer relationships and channels. Then you have the key activities and key resources in between your value proposition and your key partners. We're going to be diving into each of these one after the other. Now, in terms of using it, this is what it looks like. So you're expected to be able to fill in the information, within the template, right? So you have the chart. So for example, we could have this chart printed out and we have it fixed on the wall or fixed on the board where we can have a brainstorming session around it. For example, if you want to discuss your business, you can have a brainstorming session around it and now start filling it up. So these yellow boxes represent sticky notes. So if you have it printed, you can have sticky notes that you can use on it. If you don't have it printed, you can actually have the PowerPoint template version that you just insert your text box, or you can have a PDF version where you just put in your text. But in terms of how to use it, this is a simple way to go about using it. So let's look at a sample business model by Sephora. Let's look at a sample business model by Sephora. So Sephora's value proposition is high quality and affordable beauty and luxury products, right? And when you look at this high quality, affordable beauty and luxury products is targeted at young women. They have another category of value proposition. So where you have differences in color within the same block, it shows you that there are 2 different segments, right? So the second segment says established retail markets. And when you look at the customer segment that they're targeting for it, small beauty businesses and high-end brands. So in terms of the value proposition, they're looking at it from 2 sides, providing high-quality, affordable beauty and luxury products targeted at young women, then establish retail markets among small beauty businesses and high-end brands. Now, I'm going to explain all of this to you, but as a starter, I just want you to, get familiar with what an example looks like. Now, in being able to do this, they're going to be engaging with these young women through customer service, through social media, through mobile relations. That's the customer relationship approach that they are looking at engaging. Right. In terms of how they're going to be delivering the product to this customer segment, they will use physical stores, they will use websites, they will use apps, Android and iOS apps. Now, in terms of the activities that they will be conducting, they will do in-store product sale, they will do online store sales. In terms of the resources that will be needed, they will need technology developers, brands, store employees. Then in terms of partners that they will bring along, cosmetic brands, makeup influencers, dispatchers that will be working with them to get this out. And when you look at their revenue stream, they're going to be acquiring revenues from retail sales and sale of cosmetic products. And look at their cost structure. They'll be spending money on marketing, on retail technology developers, on employee salaries. So when you look at this at a glance, it shows what the business model of Sephora is. If you ask me that, can I improve on this business model for them? Yes. But I need to understand what value means to them in order to be able to help them to improve on their business model. Quick question. Why use a business model canvas? Why do we have to use a business model canvas? And number one, it's the fact that it's easy. It's easy to understand. I mean, when you look at what I shared with you, the descriptions are quite explicit and self-explanatory. You don't have to be racking your head to understand what each of those items means because it's quite, self-explanatory. That's the approach that should be taken in developing your business model canvas. Then it is focused. It is very, very focused. We are speaking to value proposition. Tell us exactly what value you're proposing. You're speaking to customer segment. Tell us exactly what customer segment you're targeting. So very focused. And it is flexible. If you see that what you had is not workable, you can adapt it, you can change it, you can modify it. It's flexible. So it's not like a situation where you want to correct a 30-page document. Even the thought of modifying a 30-page document itself, it's like an headache. It's like a major task, right? And that's why people don't typically go back to their business plan. But if you want to make modification, you can easily make modification and see how it works. You can adapt it. Then another important thing about this is it is customer focused. It is customer focused. I'm sure you've heard that saying over and over again that customer is king. In any business, customer is king. In fact, someone once said that customer is not just king, customer is the kingdom. So the king and the kingdom belongs to the customer, right? So if you want to be able to get customers, you have to design what is customer focused. And this is what business model canvas help you to do. Then it shows connection among the key drivers of your business model. One important thing that every business owners must always get right is how different factors of production affect the others, is how different factors that you put to work affect the others. What's the connection between them? What value, are you able to create leveraging these connections? And lastly, but not the least, it is easy to communicate. It is easy to communicate. You see, you don't need any special, teaching or any special guidance to understand a one-pager when you see it. The one-pager business model canvas. It's straightforward. It has the heading and it has the content. The heading says value proposition. Then you see what the value proposition means. The heading says customer segment. You see the customers. It's very easy. So in terms of even being able to communicate your business model to your co-workers, to people that support you, to people that work with you, it's very, very easy to achieve with the business model canvas. So that's why everyone needs to understand the business model canvas and how it's being used. Everyone needs to understand the business model canvas and how to effectively use it. Kindly confirm in the chat session if you're with me up to this point, just before we delve into each of the blocks. Confirm that you're with me. You can hear me loud and clear, and you're with me. Awesome. Awesome. Fantastic. So now let's start diving into each of the elements of the business model canvas. The first one is value proposition. Thank you. I'm glad that you're all with me. The first one is value proposition. And you need to see value proposition from the perspective of what problem are you solving for your customers? What problem exactly are you solving for your customer? You see, every customer have a job that they want to get done. They have an objective when they are buying any product or any service. So you need to be clear on what kind of problem is it that your customers actually want to solve. So even when you are in, fashion business, for example, maybe you are into, you are into ready to wear, right? You're into ready to wear. Either, what you focus on is the professional worker segment where you do ready to wear for office wears, formal wears and all that. Or perhaps you're doing ready to wear for casual wears, right? You need to first understand the need of the customer segments that you're trying to serve. That is what will now inform what you will be designing for them. And now there are different kinds of customers, as we're going to see when we go to the customer segment, right? And the needs of these customers also varies. There are some people that what they just want is just the ability to, get nice wares that makes them comfortable. Now, comfortable becomes a need that makes them comfortable while they are working or while they are at whatever it is that you're trying to do, right? So some people, they want to be able to, project their shape, show their shape, in a way that for them, it projects confidence, it projects their beauty, it projects, that is what they are looking for, right? For some customers, beyond the shape, they are concerned about the quality of the fabric that they use. They are concerned about getting something that is of high quality fabric, high quality material, high quality accessories. That's what they are looking for. So all of this depends on the kind of customer that you are serving. For some customers, what is value to them is your ability to create something that is trendy, something that is it aligns with what's happening right now. You're cutting it to the shape that they want because it's trendy. That's what they are looking for. So you need to be able to decide what exactly is the problem that customers want you to solve for them. Because if you are not clear about it, you will not be able to meet their need. The way to satisfy customers is to know what exactly they are looking for. So I'm going to talk about customer segment, then I'll flip back again to value proposition because I want to draw a connect. Now, there is the part called the customer segment. Customers are the king. Yeah, you also hear the saying, customers are always right. Now there are some customers that could be, they could be out of place in their thoughts. Don't let me use a bad word on them, right? You need customers to make money, but there are some times that it could be out of place. But then the emphasis of the customers are always right is in the way you design the products. Customers will ask for your product to be designed in the way that meets their need. So in that sense, customers are always right. You can't be building something that does not align with what your customer wants and expect your customers to buy it. It's not going to work. So you need to be able to identify what are the needs of your customers. And based on that, you are able to design a product that meets the need. So let's look at customer segments. Who are your customers? Who are the people that you're trying to push your product to, or you're trying to push your service to? Because you exist for your customers. And this should sink in for everyone. You exist for your customers, right? Customers don't exist for you. You exist for them. So what it means is that the customers exist before the business existed. Customers came before the business. So what it means is that as an entrepreneur, I now need to be able to define who are the kind of customers that I want to serve, because my product, my service must be able to satisfy my customers. So which segment do I want to target? Now, when you look at the entire population, you will see that the entire population is divided, one way you can divide population, first and foremost, is by location. So people are based in different locations, right? So when we say Nigeria market, we are talking about people that are in Nigeria. When we say, Cameroon market, we're talking about people that are in Cameroon, right? So if you have a fashion business that is in Nigeria, it means that your geographical location is Nigeria, and your primary market most likely might be Nigerians or people that are living in Nigeria. Now, it is possible for you to situate your business in the location and be selling to international markets. Yes, that is internationalization of what you're doing. But an immediate way to look at it is that in which market do you operate? Who are the people there? So there's the big Nigeria market. Now you can now narrow down to say that even though I am in Nigeria, there are 36 states plus Federal Capital Territory in Nigeria. Where exactly am I focusing on? Am I focusing on people in Lagos because I am in Lagos? Or am I focusing on people in Abuja because I'm in Abuja? Or am I focusing on people in Port Harcourt because I'm in Port Harcourt? Who are the people that I'm focusing on? Again, now, when you are clear about the people you want to serve, these days, because of the advent of digital media, people want to be able to serve as many customers as possible across board, which is a very valid approach. Right? I want to be in Abuja and I want to be able to sew clothes for customers in Ghana. I want to be in Lome and I want to be able to sew clothes for customers in Nairobi. People have that aspiration, which is fantastic, right? But you need to define that and build that into your business model. So if on your business model, you are not targeting international markets, it means that every other blocks in the business model will not support you to target international markets. But when you are intentional about building a product that serves international market, all the building blocks will support you. So who are your customers? Where are they? Are you targeting women only? Are you targeting middle-aged women? Are you targeting older women? For example, when you are into creating maternity wears, The moment you say that what you are creating is maternity wears, what it means is that, number one, your primary audience can never be men, because men don't wear maternity wears. Number two, your primary audience cannot be senior citizens, because senior citizens don't wear maternity wears. Number three, your target audience cannot be children, because children don't use maternity wears. The moment you're focusing on creating maternity wears, it means that you are looking at women of childbearing age. That's the market you're focusing on. So you need to be able to say that these are the people that I'm focusing on. You can decide to focus on, customers that are working professionals, women that are working professional. Exactly. So we're talking about the persona. You can design a persona to describe your customer segment, but not even digging deep into the persona. So persona simply means that you are able to articulate descriptively, who your customer is, what's the age group, what's the behavior, what do they like, how will they respond to situation and all of that. But we're not even going into all of that details. I'm saying that, can you even identify the segment, either by location or by gender or by age group or by need, to say that these are the people I am targeting? As a fashion designer, you can decide that you want to target, people that are interested in luxury wears, high net worth individuals, people that have a lot of money that they could spend on wears. Those are the people that you want to target. That's good. That's okay. So far, every other aspect of the block is sufficient to support what you're trying to do. But one thing that has to be clear is that you need to be able to clearly identify the customers that you want to serve. There are different customers, that you will come across. There are customers that, because of their income level, they are only just looking for outfits that covers their nakedness. They are not interested in quality material. They are not interested in trendy, fashion. They are just interested in something good that covers their naked, and that's all. Such customer, you cannot be proposing luxury outfits for such customers. You cannot be proposing expensive outfits for such customers, because it's not their interest. And that's why, as you look at, gender, as you look at location, as you look at age bracket, you also need to look at income level to determine the kind of customers that you want to serve. One of the mistakes that a lot of business owners make is that they are not actually clear on the kind of income level that their customers are in. What is the income range of the kind of customers that you're trying to serve? Because in every economy, you will have people that are very rich, very, very rich. We call them the upper class or the high net worth individuals. They are very rich. When they want to travel, they don't travel on, they don't wave down taxis when they want to travel. They travel in escorts, right? When they want to move from one province to another, they travel in private jets or first class of a plane. When they want to eat, they invite a private chef to come and make their meal, or they go to the restaurant of a 4-star or 5-star hotel to go and have a decent meal. Now, they are the high net worth individuals. They have a lot of money. So when they are buying clothing, they are buying luxury wears. So you can't just sew a regular clothes that does not have any unique meaning, and you want to sell to such people. They will not buy it, because what they are looking for is luxury. That's the language that you understand. Now, there's another category of people that are not as rich as those people. You call them the upper middle class. These people have some disposable income, some substantial disposable income, but they are not as rich. They are not as wealthy as the Aliko Dangote. They are not as wealthy as the Strive Masiriwa. They are not as wealthy as the Mike Adenuga, the richest people in that. They are not as wealthy as that, but they have some money, So maybe these are CEOs of some businesses, senior executives in some organizations. They have some money. For those ones, they are not looking for luxury, but they are looking for quality that they want to pay for. They want clothes that looks good on them, that is of quality material. That's what they want. When they want to eat, they might not necessarily invite a chef to cook for them. They might not go to the restaurants or hotel necessarily all the time to eat. They go there occasionally, but they will go to fine restaurants where they will get a very good meal, well-cooked meal. That's the way they spend their money. So when they are looking for fashion items, they are looking for something quality, something that looks good on them, something that, they can be proud of. That's what they're looking for. So you now need to think, is your customer the one that is very, very expensive that looks for luxury, or the guy that looks for quality? Now, there's another category of people that they are not looking for quality. They just want clothing. They are not interested in the quality of the fabric. They just want clothing. They just want to wear clothes at the cheapest amount possible. Those people we call the mass market. So if mass market are your people, you need to know what they want and design for them. Don't try to design luxury products for mass market, right? You design luxury products for luxury customers, and you design mass market products for mass market customers. It's important that I establish that, because that's one of the key places that people make mistakes. Now, with that said, once you are able to identify your customer segment and you are tying the value that you want to create for them, either you want to start, doing quality materials for them, or you just want to create, products that just cover their nakedness, whatever business you're running, because you know that they don't have so much money to pay, or they are not even focused on quality, you are able to meet them at their level. And in as much you can service your target customer, effectively at their level, they will invite more people to join. You will have more people that you are serving at that level. Never you try to compare yourself with another entrepreneur that is serving another market segment. For example, if you are doing clothing for the mass market segment and you are selling maybe your wear for $10, don't try to compare yourself with another person serving a high net worth individuals market or luxury market that is selling, one piece of clothing for $2,500, because the customers that are serving are different. So you need to get, about 250 customers that will buy, a piece at $10 to make the $2,500. But you don't need to look too far to get such customers. But meanwhile, the other person targeting luxury customers, we need to put in all the effort to get the one person that will come and buy for $2,500. So there are two different market segments. There are two different value propositions, and your approach to them is different. So let's move on a bit. When you are clear on your value proposition, you've decided that, okay, this is the value I want to offer to these customers. I want to be able to create something that is comfortable for them, or I want to be able to create bespoke products for them, or I want to be able to create products that makes them feel safe, or I want to offer quality fabric material to them. Or you see, sometimes, right, your value proposition to the customer segment you are targeting can be the time it will take you to sow. For example, do you realize that you can become the go-to person for people that have celebrations, or they have some events to attend, but they did not get their material on time? So when they are looking for that fashion designer, that fashion house, where they will drop their clothing and within 2 or 3 days or within 24 hours, their clothing is ready, they think about you. That can also be a unique value proposition. Speed of delivery. That can be a unique value proposition. That everybody in the city, they know that if you need your clothes within 24 hours, this is where you go to. That can be a value proposition. So once you have your value proposition and your customer segment set out, the next thing that you need to get right is the channel. The channel. How will your products get to your customer? Or how will your customers or target market be able to connect with your products? So this is where physical channel comes in. For a lot of fashion businesses, they have a physical, outlet where people can come to see the product, check it out, fit it, then pay for it. So they can conduct physical examination, then pay for it. That's a channel. That's a traditional channel. I mean, that has always been the model that businesses run that are in the fashion, industry, right? But you can also decide that instead of having your own store where people will come and meet you to check, you want to leverage on other people's stores. So for example, you're just a growing fashion brand and you want to be selling your product across multiple cities. What it means is that if you are to be across multiple cities yourself, you will have to open physical locations across those multiple cities. But in this case, you want to leverage on existing infrastructure. So you can leverage on your partners, distribution partners. You can leverage on supply partners to actually put your products or distribute your products across key cities. So for example, if there is a shopping mall, a popular shopping mall in another city that has different retail outlets in it, and you're able to reach out to one of the stores within that shopping mall and strike a deal that they will help you, display your products. And by the time the product is sold, they take a percentage as commission. What happens is that you are able to sell your products even in another city without you being there. So you are leveraging a distribution channel, which is a retail outlet. So you need to think about your business and think about how can you reach as many customers as possible. And that's where the channel comes in. So you need to be able to say that these are the channels that we're going to use to reach our customers. Another popular channel that people leverage now is online. Online. I know that for a number of you, you're probably leveraging on WhatsApp, your WhatsApp status or your WhatsApp stories. Some are using Facebook stories, some Instagram stories, to get the word out there to your potential customers. Yes, it's good. Some might have e-commerce websites where people come in to check what you have and order. That's also a channel, right? Your channel speaks to whatever means you are able to get people, your target audience, to come and buy your product or your service. That's your channel. So note that down. What channel are you currently using or will you use to reach your segment? The next is customer relationship. Customer relationship. Now, you are clear about who your customers are. How do you get them? That's the first question. How do you get them? You have a channel via which they're going to pick up your service or pick up your product, but how do you attract them to you? How do you attract them to you? This talks about what kind of marketing material, what kind of marketing approach are you going to use to attract them to you? Are you going to leverage social media? Are you going to leverage print media? Are you going to leverage what campaigns, what approach are you going to leverage to get customers to you? Now, when customers come to you, how are you going to keep them? What's your strategy to keep your customers? Are you going to maintain a very good relationship with your customers in order to keep them? Are you going to be engaging them on a weekly basis, maybe with newsletter to keep them? You see, one of the common things that people in fashion space do, particularly those that are tech savvy, is that they now have an approach where they are able to share with their customers their updated catalog, particularly for those that are in ready to wear. So they are saying that, oh, these are the new, these are the new designs that we have in store. Come and check it out. So they can push that through WhatsApp. They can push that through newsletter. They can. So what approach are you going to take to keep the relationship going? You see, another smart way could be that you are providing, insights on how to maintain fabric, providing, just general news that speaks to fashion, just news that will be useful to your customers, but you need to find a way to keep them engaged. Now, part of the strategy that people also use here is that people use loyalty scheme. Loyalty scheme in the sense that you are saying that if you buy so number of products, you will get one free. Or by the time you have come to shop 5 times, by the time you are coming the 6th time, you will get 50% off. So just different schemes to get customers to commit to you, to come back to you. So how are you going to keep your customers? And the third question you need to answer here is, how do you grow your customers? How do you grow them? You've been able to attract your initial customers. Now you're keeping them, but how do you grow your customers? Promotion activities are some interesting ways people grow customer base, right? But you need to be able to identify that, okay, these are the ways that I want to grow a customer. Those are questions that you need to answer as far as your customer relationship is concerned. If you have questions, please use the space that has been provided for questions. I won't be able to take a live question at this time, so I won't be able to respond to your question, but you can use the chat, where you can provide your questions. The next is revenue streams. Now you have a value proposition, you have the customer segment, you are able to distribute your product or service to the customer segment, you are able to maintain your relationship with the customers. There has to be revenue streams, that is captured on your business model canvas. What value is the customer paying for? That's the first thing you want to be able to clear out. What is the value that the customers are paying for? And this is where your value proposition canvas also comes in again. Are they paying for speed? Right? How much are they going to be paying for it? Are they paying for delivery? How much are they going to be paying for it? What does it cost to buy a piece of your clothing? What does it cost to use your platform? What does it cost to order for good and have it delivered? These are questions that you want to be able to answer, because the kind of price that you set is what informs the value that your customer places on your product. If you are serving the right customer segment, the value that you demand for the product will be similar or aligned to the value that the customers place on your product. So when you say the price for my product is $50, they will gladly pay $50 for it. But if you are not clear about the value proposition in the first instance, and you're now saying that, hey, this product is worth $30, the customer segment can say that, hey, we can't pay more than $10 for this, because what you have designed does not align with the value that they place on your product. So in terms of being able to capture value from your customers, you need to be able to set a price point, a value that is realistic and aligned with the customer segment you're targeting. Now, the second question I want to ask is, what strategy do you want to use to capture that value? How do you want to be collecting money from your customers? This could be pretty straightforward for some. This might not be for some. If you have an online platform, for example, in a country where online payment is not well developed, it means that you will have to rely on transfers to be able to receive payment. If you are for example, you're based in Freetown in Sierra Leone, and you're setting up an online platform to serve customers across different African regions, it means that you need to also find a platform that can help you collect money from these customers. If they are not able to pay you via your platform, there is no way you will deliver value for those customers overseas. So you want to check, what strategy do I have to collect money from the customers I am targeting? If you don't have structure in place to collect money from certain customer segments, there is no point targeting them because there is no way you collect money. So if you're targeting them in adverts, you're only wasting your funds because you can't collect money from them. So as you're thinking of the segments, as you're designing the value proposition and you're designing a platform where they can reach you, you must also think about how do you capture value from them? How do I make money from each customer segment? This is a very important question. You know, now that you've established that this is the amounts that they are willing to pay for each of your products or each of your service, and you are clear about how you are collecting the money from them, you now need to be able to know, how do I make more money from the segment? How do I get each customers to spend more money on my product? And these can be as interesting as finding complementary services or products that you can sell to them. So for example, you're making shoes and you now decide to also buy polish and shoe shining kits that goes along with your shoes. So it means that beyond the profits that you make from the shoe that you're selling, you are also making money from complementary products like your polish and your brush. That's an example, of thinking about how to make more money from the customer segment that you're targeting. If, for example, you're focused on building or designing fashion outfits, fashion dresses, and you now realize that there is need for certain accessory features, for that category. How do you bring that in order to increase revenue? So these are key questions that you need to ask. How do I make more money from this segment? You need to be able to highlight it on your business model covers. Now, the next is key resources. Key resources. We are looking at the left part of the canvas now, the left part of value proposition. We're looking at key resources. What key resources would you require in order to be able to deliver the value proposition that you promise to your customers, right? Now, there are financial resources that you need, no doubt. There are physical resources that you might need, right? Intellectual resources and human resources, right? So you need money, you need fund to deliver on what you want to do. What kind of fund do you need? Or you need physical resources in terms of maybe a building or equipment and all that. You need to be able to identify, And if it is that you need intellectual resources like mailing lists, customer lists, and all that, you need to be able to identify it. And when you need to hire staff, it's also key resources you need to identify. So what resources would you need in order to be able to deliver on your value proposition? This needs to be highlighted on your business model covers. The next is key partners. What key partners do you need in order to be able to reach more customers? And this is how you should be thinking about it. Your customers, your customers are distributed across, the entire population. Some of them are within your city, some of them are outside of your city and all that. But what you are looking for is that, how do I leverage organizations, businesses, existing structures, right, to be able to enable you distribute your product to more people? That's what you want to achieve. Who are the key partners needed to make your business model work? If you want to be able to serve international market, what kind of partners do you need to be thinking about? Of course, you need logistics partners that will help you do delivery. of your product, particularly the last mile delivery. So you need to think about it. What partners can you leverage? What partners can you leverage in order to be able to reach more people? Now, another kind of partner that is very critical are your suppliers. The people that supplies your raw material, that supplies your sewing accessories, that supplies, all the peripheral parts that you need to put together your piece. They are critical partners. Who are these suppliers? What kind of relationship do you need to build with them? Now, what kind of resources do you need to acquire from them? What kind of activities are these partners going to be playing within your business? It's a very important thing that you need to properly clarify. The difference between a fashion business that is growing exponentially and the ones that are struggling, could be a partnership thing. It could simply be a partnership thing, and that's why, like I was saying earlier on, you need to now reflect and think about it, that which partnership opportunity can you leverage in your city or in your country to be able to reach more customers? You can start by looking at the different malls and supermarkets that exist around you. Can you approach them and sell the idea to them? I want to, put my products here. Can you give me a small space, where I could display my product? And this is what you get. This is the profit sharing ratio. And before you know it, as the product begins to move, people begin to buy, then it becomes a situation where they will be the one placing the orders by themselves. They will be placing the orders by themselves. So it's important that you know who the key partners are. Then key activities. What are the key activities that you must be doing strategically in order to get things going? What key activities do you need to be doing in order to get things going? I like this image a lot because it literally shows some of the processes that you follow, in your fashion business. How you first source for the materials, even from the backdrop of how the materials are harvested and how they are now built into fabrics, and how those fabrics are dyed, then how printings are done on them, then how they are now packaged and moved to distributors, and distributors now share it with end consumers. What process is critical? What activity is critical? For most of you, number one is production. You have to, produce. It's a critical activity. So it has to be prioritized. Then another thing is supply chain. How does items move from one place to the other place in order for you to be able to use it? How does items move from your supplier to your own production floor, and from your own production floor to the retail stores, or from your own, warehouse to the customer's house? How does it move? These are key things that you need to highlight in your business model canvas. Then for some people, it is problem solving, particularly if you are a designer. You want to be able to solve problems. There is this maternity cover. What's it called now? There's this maternity cover that women uses when they are breastfeeding. I can't remember the exact word it's called. If you know it, please just drop it in the chat section, right? Now, that could be an area that you're focusing on, right? What it means is if you're creating that kind of maternity cover that's breastfeeding mothers use when they are taking care of breastfeeding apron. Thank you. If that is what you're making, it means that you have to put in some creativity, some innovation into that to ensure that you're creating something that is relevant and useful to the segments you are targeting. There are some women that they just want to cover themselves, that's all. But there are some women that are business executives that want to use a fashionable apron when they are breastfeeding. So those are things that you need to think about. So for you, if you're a designer, problem solving has to be part of your activities. If you are the one dictating the tune of the designs and all that, it has to be part of it. Then the next is marketing. Without marketing, a business won't survive. So marketing should be a key activity that you're doing. Then a very important block is the cost. Now, this cost part is also equally important. What takes the bulk of your money? That's the cost. That's the cost. When you say something is a cost center, it means that thing is taking money out of the business. So what do you spend your money on? What does it cost to operate the business model? That's an important question you want to ask. What are the most important costs that you incur? Generally in your industry, the most important cost is usually around the raw materials that you use. What are the most important costs? And when you look at your different costs, what are the most expensive resources and key activities that you're doing? Because when you talk about those activities, when you talk about those resources, they are going to cost you money, right? You are paying for the resources. You are paying for the activities that are being carried out. Production, yeah, you're spending money. Marketing, yeah, you're spending money. So you need to be clear. What are your fixed costs versus variable costs? What's your economy of scale? Now, here you want to be able to say that on an annual basis, this is the amount I'm paying for rental for my space. This is the cost of, the equipment that will serve me for 1 or 2 years. You need to be able to highlight that. And you need to also know what are the costs that changes based on demand of the market. So when I'm asked to produce 1,000, how much will it cost me to buy raw material for 1,000 versus when I'm buying raw materials for just 10 pieces? Definitely, the cost per unit when you're buying just for 10 pieces would be higher than when you are buying for 1,000 pieces because of the discounts that you enjoy. What value do I get when I'm doing mass production or large quantity production versus when I'm doing just simple or small production? These are things that you need to have an idea of so that you can plan your costs based on the model you're trying to operate. So in the nutshell, what we've been able to do is to look at the key elements of the business model canvas. This business model canvas is a simple one-pager, that gives you the opportunity to collapse your 30-page business plan or your 40-page business plan into something that is distinct, that is useful, that you can simply use to guide your daily operations. And we've also seen how the different blocks are interconnected to one another, such that you can see how one impacts the others. For example, how your value proposition impacts the customer segment, or how the customer segment impacts the kind of channel that you use to reach them. Then we can also see that business model canvas can be used for any kind of business. Either it's a startup or it's an existing business, you can use a business model canvas on any front. Okay, so that will be all. By the time you get your notes, these are interesting case studies that you can go through, and this will be all from my hand. So you're going to look at questions now while I'll have this Sephora business model canvas on my screen. I hope it's value added.
Thank you very much, Aki. I see that the chat box is really buzzing with a lot of comments saying the session was very informative and very enlightening. So it's question and answer time. We still have about 20 minutes at the end of this session. So if you have any questions, please kindly send them to the chat box. So while you are sending your questions, I would like us to take a question from Abu Mohammed Bomza. He said that he wants to know more about the business segments concerning fashion industries. Akin, do you have anything to say about that?
Business segments in fashion industry.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe my approach would be from the angle of maybe I'm assuming that such person is just trying to come into the fashion space. The person is just trying to explore, what are the different possibilities within the fashion industry. So let me just give you a high-level segment based on my understanding of the space. Right now, the general segment that we are familiar with is that of the fashion designer that actually weaves the materials into different styles and they sell, right? But there is the segment of people that actually produce the raw materials. There are farmers that plant cotton, that plant cottons, that harvest wool, from animals, right? That now process these things, So there is that part of playing at that crude end where what you're doing is you're producing the very raw material, what you're doing is very close to what the farmers are doing. Now, there are people that now receive these raw materials in, as a fabric processing companies, where they are now processing all those cottons, processing those wools into this actual fabric. That's another level within the fashion industry, right? Now, there are people that what they do is that they import this fabric into their country, because most of these companies that produces these fabrics, they are not in Africa, they are outside of Africa. Maybe, yes, in Egypt, yes, you have some that produces cotton, but most of those folks are outside of Africa, or let me say primarily outside of West Africa, even Southern Africa as well. Yeah, I know that in South Africa, there are a few companies too that does the processing, but in Nigeria, it's not a thriving business at all. The industry, the segment is almost like dead, literally. It used to be alive, but currently dead, hoping to be resuscitated. But that's a space, right? You can import the materials into your own local environment, right? Then you can play in the fashion designing and manufacturing, as I said, then you can play in the space where you're just retailing. You're not even designing, you're just retailing. So what it means is that you're working with different fashion designers or fashion houses to collect the best of their collections and sell to your own customers. It is not your headache how it is sewn. It is your headache if there is error on the sewing. You're just going around collecting the best designs that fits what your customers want, and you are listing it. Either you are listing it in your showroom or you are listing it on your website and you're selling, right? So there is also the part of, the shoe, because we often talk about clothing, there is the part of, making shoes. There's the part of the accessories that goes with these things, the ties, the bouquet, all of those things, they are also part of fashion. There is the cosmetic sides, they're also part of fashion. So you need to now just look keenly to find where you play. So I hope I've answered the question of the person that wants me to speak on, different segments.
Thank you very much, Akin. There's another question from Phyllis. She says that, is it possible to have all three types of customer segments, or a business, or as a business, we need to be more specific about our target audience?
Thank you. The later statement that you made is actually the correct one. You need to be specific about your target segment. The reason why you need to be specific is that all your messaging efforts will be targeted at a customer segment, right? So if a customer segment wants quality and another segment wants quantity, how do you design a message that will speak to both of them? You will struggle. When a customer segment wants luxury wear and another customer segment wants, maybe luxury casual wears, and another segment wants formal wear. Then another segment wants, low quality but cheap wears. How do you now put together a robust marketing message that will address all of the segments? It's going to be practically impossible. That's why the rule is to be specific on your target market. What is your primary target market? When you have a primary target market, you are channeling your efforts to reaching them, to serving them. Yes, there can now be secondary target audience. There are some people that you were not targeting, but will be interested in your product. You can now decide to also serve them. But the primary target market should be your focus, the focus of your channel, the focus of your activities, the focus of your resources, the focus of all your customer relationship efforts.
Thank you very much, Aki. Somebody is asking a question. He says, that's Janet. Kindly tell us more about revenue stream.
Okay, so revenue stream simply means that now you've identified a customer segment and you've identified the value that you are creating for them. By the time you create the value and you deliver the value to the customer segment, you need to be able to capture value from that customer segment. So how do you capture value? It means that you need to be able to collect money for the value that you've delivered. Right. So the first question you want to ask is, what do we collect money for? Do we collect money for sewing? Do we collect money for advertising? What exactly are you going to be collecting money for in what you are doing? Right. So in some cases, for most fashion houses, they collect money for the goods that they sell. Right. So that's a form of collecting your revenue. The other thing about revenue is to say that what other thing can we add to the primary thing that we are selling or we are collecting money for? How can we collect more money from each customer? Simply put, right? So that's where you're now saying that, can we layer on additional supplementary products like accessories to what we sell, so that from each of the customers, we are not only just collecting the $50 for which we sell a shirt, we are also collecting additional $10 for whatever it is that we're adding to. Maybe there's a tie that we're adding to it, or a handbag, whatever it is that the customer needs that we're adding to it. So that's the way to think about it, right? And in some cases, you might want to think about, okay, can we create a retainer scheme where our customers or our clients, they are paying every month, to be able to have access to certain kind of service. Those are things that you think about in your revenue stream. How do we capture money? Simply put, collect money from our target market.
Thank you very much, Akin. We have a question from Notando. He says that, I don't know if it's a he or a she anyway, so pardon me, please. Is it good enough to present this one-pager document to financier versus the 130 pages? I guess it's trying to say, is it enough for you to just present your business model canvas to a financier than presenting the entire business plan?
So one thing that your business model canvas does is that, first and foremost, it gives you as a person clarity around your business model, how it runs, how you're creating value, how you're delivering the value, how you're capturing the value. So it creates that clarity for you, first and foremost. And with that same clarity, you can engage a financier to provide clarity to them as to what you're running. And when you are clear and they are able to understand what you want to achieve, and how you're going about it, then it's easier for them to provide funding for your business. Now, the question will now arise that now we understand your business. We want to see a detailed out plan as to how you want to now run this. How many people are you going to hire? When will the revenue start coming in? What will be your cash flow? So those are the elements that are now in your business plan. So this doesn't say that you will not develop business plan at all. This is saying that before you start developing business plan, develop a business model that will guide everything you want to do. So financiers will not ask you to present 120 business plans. The truth is, nobody cares about that these days. What they will ask you to do is to present a pitch deck that captures key elements that they want to see, not a 100-something page business plan. They will not read it. Yes, it's good to be detailed, but 100-something pages will not help. Something concise is better. But this BMC will guide you to have an idea, understanding, and when you are clear, we can now develop your pitch document or a very simple business plan. 10 pages, then that has your financial analysis, and you're good to go.
Thank you very much, Akin. From Emma Fundi, can we indicate suppliers of materials and trimmings as key partners in the canvas?
Yes, suppliers of your materials can actually be your key partners. As a matter of fact, one of the ways that you can possibly win in your industry is when you have some key suppliers of materials as your friend, as your key ally, because your partners are your allies. So what it means is that in times of scarcity, those suppliers will prioritize you first. You know, during COVID, there was a major logistics breakdown, major logistics problem, you know, that people were not able to really move things across borders. In those times, if you have suppliers that are your friend, they will have the raw materials in their store. When people are trying to reach them, they will say, no, I want to reach out to my partner first. They want to know how many resources you need first. They want to satisfy you first before they give it to other people. I don't know if you ever come across people that are loyal to you that says that, oh, a number of people had come for this, but I refused to sell to them because I knew you were coming. That's the value in this partnership that we're talking about. So you need to have such strong allies, you know, who are your suppliers, who can give you supply at discounted rates, who can tell you about promotions that are going on and you can take advantage of it, who can even tell you that, hey, there is these changes that is happening in China. It is important that you import all these resources that you need for 6 months ahead of time. They are giving you the hints, and that becomes your own advantage. So yes, those are key people that you should have as partners.
Thank you very much, Akin. So there's a question from Ogechuku Judith Otuya. She says, how can a brand go about having a diffusion line for customers that want more affordable versions of products? How do we go about marketing and sales without affecting the premium line?
That's a very good question. And I have a lot of entrepreneurs, you know, raising that concern because they started out serving customers that want premium. And now they are seeing that, hey, they have opportunity to reach significant numbers by serving the mass market. This is what I always advise, which always work. Now, when you want to diffuse your line for customers, don't touch the premium brand. Don't touch the premium. And this is what I mean. The name you use for the premium brand, don't put the same name or the same label on the diffuse brand. Is going to impact the value. Nobody buying premium products wants the same name of that premium product on a diffuse brand, right? Because what it does is that it creates a picture of, you know, a suboptimal product. You know, it creates a picture of an inferior quality versus what they used to get. The moment they see that brand name on a substandard product, you've affected their psyche. As a matter of fact, do you realize that people don't buy because of logical reasoning? They buy out of emotions. People buy out of emotions, right? So because of the emotions that people attach to what you used to offer them, the moment they see that brand on something that is not as worth it, they will stop patronizing it. So what you want to do is to create a separate brand for that diffuse line. So you want to serve the mass market, give it a new name, you know, give it a new name. So it's now becomes clearer to people that are buying premium that this is a different segment entirely. This is a different quality entirely. It's not a quality at the level of what they've been buying, but it's a different quality entirely. But if you give it exactly the same name, it's going to affect customers that are currently buying your premium. You will just realize that at the end of the day, the current brand that you've diffused for customers will become a general market product. The premium customers will leave and only the general market people will buy. But when you use a different brand name, you know, it makes all the world of difference.
Thank you very much, Akin. So this is going to be the final question we'll be taking today. If we're not able to take your question because we're pressed for time, Please do well to send your questions to Fashionomics Help Desk at CCO-Africa. So let's take this last question from Ngalin Franklin. He says that I'm working on textile waste recycling, that's upcycling, and produce diverse products from my recycling. Is it better to choose and work on a signature product in my business plan or include all my products in the business plan? I ask because each product has a particular target market as well as a specific challenge it's addressing besides its environmental challenge. I don't know if you got the question, Akin.
Yes, so my quick response to that would be that in a situation where you have several products, you have several products, you want to take out the BNC and map it out for each of the products, particularly if the products have diverse target markets. When you look at this Sephora business model canvas here, they have two different customer segments. Because it's two different customer segments, but with similar approach for them, they could identify the customer segments, but every other thing that they are doing aligns with the same approach to reaching these customer segments. But in your case, it's most likely that the approach that you take and the kind of resources that you will need don't necessarily align, right? So what you want to do first is create time, use different DMC for each of the products. By the time you have detailed it out, you can now compare which ones have similar activities, similar key resources requirements, then you can now fuse them together. At the end of the day, you will now see that perhaps you have like multiple business model that you want to use to engage for each of those products. The reason why that has to be is because no singular business model work for the diverse things that we're trying to do in our businesses. So we need to be able to align what we have with the realities of our business. So at the end of the day, it might now be that you now have different business units that have unique business models because you are still in the upcycling business, but you now have different units that focus on different products running different model. So that's what I think you should do. I think it's very helpful for you.
Thank you very much, Akin. Thank you so much for your time. If the session has been quite insightful for you, please just drop a thumbs up for Akin in the chat box to appreciate him and appreciate him for having led us in a fantastic session. So we would have to call it a day after this 1 hour, 30-minute session. And Akin, once again, we are grateful to you for leading us amazingly this afternoon. It was quite insightful, and I begin to see the thumbs up rolling in the chat box. Thank you very much. So I see questions in the chat box of people asking if this material is going to be available to them. Of course, yes. You would have access to the recording of this session on the Moodle platform. Login details will be shared with you before the end of the week. So be on the lookout in your email boxes as we will be sharing with you login details of how to access the Moodle platform, where you'll be able to see all learning materials, recorded sessions from last week and same for this week. So please be on the lookout for this. We would continue interaction in the WhatsApp group. So the WhatsApp group will be open shortly after the session for you to engage and share your key learnings in the WhatsApp group for others to also benefit from. Please, if you are not on the WhatsApp group, please kindly join the WhatsApp group. I'll be sharing the link shortly for you to access the WhatsApp group. So please join the WhatsApp group so that you will be able to be abreast of information about the program and every necessary details that you need to know so that you don't miss out of any activity that is going on in this program. I just shared the link to join the WhatsApp group in the chat box. Please kindly click the link to access the WhatsApp group so that you can have access to information and also network with your fellow cohort members. Thank you very much, everyone. Like I mentioned the other time, login details to access Moodle platform will be shared with us before the end of this week. So be on the lookout in the chat box. Okay, somebody says, how about the business Canva for us to practice? Can that be shared separately? I will communicate that to you in the WhatsApp group if you have access to a business Canva template shared. But if we don't, we'll get one across to you before the end of the week. Thank you very much, Akin. Once again, we appreciate you for your time and for the effort given to this session. We'll call it a day now, and then we'll catch up in the WhatsApp group. So do have an amazing time, everyone. See you in the WhatsApp group.
See you. Bye.